However, we understand that not everyone is willing or wants to implement a new pop-up or widget or whatever it is on the front end because they already have a pop-up. 65% of e-commerce merchants run actively a pop-up, some kind of pop-up on their store. So they might not want another one to subscribe, Messenger. That would be just too much. So we decided to integrate with all the major pop-up applications.
Welcome to the Chatbot Podcast, the place where we talk about bots, artificial intelligence, smart automation, and messenger marketing. We value our time and enjoy when technology makes our lives easier. And now your host, Balint Pataki.
Hey everyone, we're back with a special episode today. Believe it or not, the first preparation started over 2.5 years ago for this exact episode. We almost recorded it earlier this year after sharing the stage together in Budapest, Hungary, but we decided that after a new product update would be a much better time. And that day is today. Shoma Tóth is the co-founder and CEO of Recart, an amazing messenger automation tool for Shopify stores. They do a phenomenal job at recovering lost revenue for the stores and many other things you will hear today. His background as a marketing director in e-commerce and dedication for continuous improvements are just some of the things that make Recart a top-notch Shopify app. If you're interested in trying out Recart, I have a special link in the description so you can start using it for free and see how it works for you. You can find it along with the show notes and other episodes under chatbottutorial.com/podcast. Oh, and he's the first fellow Hungarian guest on the podcast. But funnily enough, we are both in the United States right now, so don't worry, we'll keep it in English. Without further ado, please welcome to the show, Shoma Tóth. Shoma, thank you for accepting my invitation to this interview. Could you please introduce yourself quickly to the listeners who don't know you yet?
Of course. Thanks for having me on the podcast. My name is Shoma Tóth. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Recart. And Recart has been around for the past 4 years. We've been solving different problems for e-commerce merchants with automations. And for the past 2.5 years, we've been focusing on the conversational commerce and the conversational automation for e-commerce stores on Facebook Messenger.
I recall the early times when Messenger just started to gain some traction in terms of automation. What made you think that it could be the next thing? I know you jumped on the board super early when it comes to all the market players.
Yeah, so we always try to think out of the box, and we had pretty good automations for recovering your abandoned carts on email and push notifications, and we've been using a couple of adjustments backend that helped merchants recover 5 times more revenue compared to other tools. So we've been gaining traction before that, and things were going better, but we saw that Messenger just opened up their entire platform for sending and receiving messages and supporting business use cases. So we put together a short hackathon and we tried to figure out if we could, send the cart abandonment recovery message on Facebook Messenger. And by the end of the week, it turned out that we can, and we started testing it with a few merchants, and we saw the huge, not just the huge open and click rates, because it's being said all the time that Messenger has 95% and 30%, 99% open and 30% click rates, which is true. But what's most shocking to me still, that it has a 15 to 25% reply rate. So people are actually engaged in these conversations, and that helps a lot of businesses to, create and facilitate conversations, real conversations with their customers.
I see. These are fantastic numbers, and I work in the industry, so I know. But so many people don't really see it from that regard. And also another aspect is building a connection, building this list, and having a little bit more intimacy with these people. So, how does a flow look like? Like you concentrate on cart abandonment. Are there any things that people could add, or how does that work with the Recart?
Yeah, so for the early days, we've been solely focusing on cart abandonment. Then we introduced receipt flows. Then we introduced welcome flows. And now we have several different automations available in Recart. So cart abandonment back in 2017 made a lot of sense because we had the pre-checked checkbox that could be placed under any button. And we placed it under the add to cart button, which were being pressed anyways by the customers, and that was the add to cart stage of the funnel. So you basically got 30 to 50% of all the people who added something to cart in your messenger list, and you could send them reminders in case they have not completed their purchase. It was super effective because those were like kind of hot leads, and reminding them to complete their purchase on a channel that has 90% open rates, it just delivered crazy amounts. However, the pre-check checkbox were abused a lot by different providers, and it could be easily turned into a spam machine. So it made a lot of sense that Facebook and the Messenger team decided to take it away and sunset it. So since then, we also changed a lot, and we offer different opt-in tools. So on different stages of the funnel. So upper the funnel, for example, welcome pop-ups, integrations with all the different pop-up providers. So the campaigns changed with that as well. So now we are focusing on welcome flows, giving discounts to customers, and follow up on them if they are not completing their purchase. So it was focused on cart abandonment, and now it's basically all the automation that an e-commerce merchant can use to drive more sales from the traffic they have.
Thank you. So cart abandonment was basically the start, and then you expanded on this. So when it comes to cart abandonment, you have the numbers compared to push notifications and emails. How does Messenger play a role here? How do the numbers work?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, we were not just fascinated by the open and click rates, but we measured the real engagement and how many people actually respond to those messages. And that was just amazing. And we found that people don't literally reply to emails. So email is much more like, especially promotional emails are much more like a one-way communication channel. So businesses are talking at customers. And push notification is absolutely one-way communication. So you don't really have any viable way to reply. So businesses basically actually use those tools to talk at their customers. And what we saw with Messenger, and that's why we saw the huge potential in it, that you're actually talking to your customers, and it's an active conversation, active back and forth conversation where you can engage your customers in an automated way. You can provide context, tell more about your products, tell how they can use it, answer frequently asked questions right on the conversation, and drive them towards purchase. So I think that the biggest difference between email, push, and Messenger is that Messenger is a real two-way communication channel, and it has access to all your customers. And email and push is great to send information, but it's not that effective as a chat platform.
So I understand the engagement is high and you can build a way better connection that way, especially if you consider in push, there's no way to answer, right? But how do the numbers play? Is it more likely that people buy from Messenger, or there are some concerns, restrictions? Is it possible with Recart to buy from Messenger, or they go back to the Shopify store?
Yeah, so we usually drive them back to the Shopify store. We don't see that trend emerging when people would purchase straight from the Messenger conversation.
Yeah, I think Facebook shut down, or is going to shut down because of this as well. Just wanted to point it out.
We did not experience a wide adoption of that, and businesses are usually want to own that experience and drive people back to the Shopify storefront. So that's what we do as well. Most of our customers purchase that way. So they either get a discount code in a Messenger conversation and they tap on the button and go from there, or even oftentimes they get the discount on Messenger and they open up their laptop and make the purchase from there.
I see. I know you have a clever solution for bypassing all the difficulties that Facebook gives us in a way with the checkbox. They have to extra check on it. Sometimes they are logged in, sometimes they are not logged in. Do they provide an email address now? Do they not provide an email address? How does that work with Recart?
Yeah, so I think we've been working on resolving this issue for our merchants for several months, early this year, and I think that we solved the problem very well. So one thing we did is we introduced new tools. Like we have different sticker discount widgets, and order page widgets and other tools that help merchants drive subscribers to their Messenger list. However, we understand that not everyone is willing or wants to implement a new pop-up or widget or whatever it is on the front end because they already have a pop-up. 65% of e-commerce merchants run actively a pop-up, some kind of pop-up on their store. So they might not want another one to subscribe Messenger. That would be just too much. So we decided to integrate with all the major pop-up applications. So there are two things we do. One thing is we can integrate the checkbox widget into any pop-up under the email field and above the call to action button. Basically, we add Messenger subscription to their pop-ups, and customers who are logged into Facebook, they have to tick the Messenger box before they can get their discount code. It's very, very effective. All it takes is checking that box. Just like with European merchants, they do the GDPR checkbox in order to subscribe people to their list. It's very similar. Customers have to check that box before opting in. This is ideal for merchants who have at least 50% of their traffic from Android, Facebook, or Facebook sources. If merchants are heavy on Instagram or iOS Safari in terms of traffic, the widget does not appear oftentimes, or in most of the cases, because we hide the widget in case there is no Messenger or Facebook login in the browser. And the problem is that, I'm not sure if you are aware of it, but Apple and Facebook is at war in terms of cookies. And there was a Facebook Pixel Armageddon a couple of months ago when things just stopped working. And Apple is trying to market themselves as they want to sell privacy, and they want to try to make Facebook's job as hard as possible. And now it means that Safari does not support the Messenger widgets currently. So that's why in case there is no login, we hide the widget, because if there's no login and the customer interacts with the widget, they are being taken to the Facebook login. And that's basically the last thing you want to do in a customer journey to drive them to a different page and make them log into their Facebook account. So if you have a store where you're heavy on Instagram and Safari traffic, we usually do m.me link subscription. So people can opt into your email list just the same way it works right now, but the button is taking them to Messenger where they can get their discount code. So you get both email and Messenger subscriptions at the same time. So these are the two setups we use for all merchants, and we integrate with all the major pop-up applications that are popular on e-commerce. So Privy, Just to Know, Klaviyo Forms, Optimonk, and Willio as well.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love how you are able to help people with existing solutions, and they don't have to change or decide, because many of the cases in marketing where there's like a new tool coming in and then, okay, do I switch? Do I not switch? All my automations, everything is in place, and you just make it easy for everyone to have the Messenger side of things as well. That's awesome. So you mentioned that Facebook found it that like it's a little bit too spammy with the checkbox, and they don't allow the pre-checked version anymore. Was it more that the users didn't know that they are getting these messages, or were they spammed after they entered into the Messenger channel? And how did it change since it's a little bit more I would say they're more informed right now. They have to extra read at least, or just check something.
Yeah. So I think it's both. So first of all, many of the customers were unaware of the subscription. So they were pressing buttons like add to cart, and they did not notice that there's a checkbox under the add to cart button. So they were being subscribed to something they were not really aware of. That created friction for the end customer, and sometimes it just was not a great experience. So we also noticed this, and we tried to make unsubscription as easy as possible. So we were trying to force our merchants to include an unsubscription quick reply on the first message, at least on the first message. So their customers can, okay, what the heck is that? And they can just simply unsubscribe from future messaging. On the other hand, the subscription messaging itself, the rule has been violated by businesses all the time. So on the first hand, yes, the subscription was literally too easy. And people could just imagine with the same with email. So you would start getting emails from a store if you visited them, but you did not leave your email address. You would probably look, very strange on your computer. Okay, what's going on? I have not left my email address. So on the other hand, businesses were told not to use, subscription messaging for promotional use cases, but they did. So I think it was also the subscription was so easy that making unsubscription easy was not a good solution. It was simply not enough. And it's also once they were opted in, businesses created so much noise because it was free. It was free messaging. They could go in and set up as many messages as they want, promotions, whatever. The rules were not really enforced. So I think that these facts drove that kind of change from, in Facebook's perspective.
I see. Facebook changed recently the way how this goes. So they start to take it more seriously, as it seems. How does that affect Recart, and how do you see the way it will play out in the future?
Yeah, so what I mentioned earlier that resulted in a serious platform policy change. I'm pretty sure that most of you guys are aware of it, that the subscription messaging is going away, the platform message is going away. I think it has two main goals. One is to reduce noise on the platform, and the other is to actually monetize the platform. If you think about it, that Messenger were giving businesses too much for free, that's actually correct. If you just think about it, how many businesses generated how much revenue using Messenger campaigns, it's easy to agree that okay, that was just too much for free, basically. And it's a huge platform where activity still grows. So Messenger is one of the biggest asset inside the Facebook family, and they don't really make a huge revenue from it. So, and businesses have the appetite to send messages. So I think they felt that this is a good time to start asking money for those messages. And I think all of these changes that, Messenger is essentially becoming an ad product. So, you have to use sponsored messages and you have to create inbound use cases with click to Messenger ads. It does make sense, and it could work, and it could play out very well in case these advertising tools are good enough to deliver on the promise. And, sponsored messages will be like, more instantaneous messages that, instead of creating an ad, waiting for the review, the delivery usually takes now 1 to 3 or 4 days, even in some cases. And it is not being delivered to, if your audience is smaller than 1,000 people, then you will see problems with delivery. So I think it's a great opportunity, but it does not deliver right now. But if it will, it's going to be a huge thing, and for both marketers and Facebook itself.
And do you think that could keep the open rates high as well on a constant level? And also, Facebook had an idea of separating the business inboxes from the personal inboxes. So probably that could be a solution for not spamming Messenger, basically, and not turning it into an email.
Yeah. So from January 15th, the only way you can message people outside the 24-hour window with promotional content is a sponsored message. That's all you have. And sponsored message is limited on the end user's end for 1 message per day. So as an end user on Messenger, you can only receive 1 promotion on a single day. I think that solves the noise problem, and I think there were like a couple of rumors and even tests how Messenger could separate the personal inbox and the business inbox. I think that with this change, they might not go for it at all, because the messages you are able to receive is very limited. So if you subscribe to 6 different business in a week, it's less likely that you're going to receive many messages. Also, the fact that it's not free anymore, you gotta receive relevant messages, and businesses have to send messages that make economic sense. Otherwise, they won't realize ROI from it. So if it's not a good experience, if it's spammy, if it's too pushy, they will basically churn very, very soon, and those messages will stop. So I think it's a great validation as well. So if you have to pay for the message, we see that sponsored messages are around SMS prices. So very similar to what you can buy from SMS providers. And I think it's not it's not a coincidence at all. So Messenger is positioning sponsored message against text messaging, which is great. But you have to make sure that you get that ROI, and businesses will think twice what they send and what they not. So I think that will instantly increase the customer experience on for the end users. Of course, it's problematic because there are a ton of great use cases that won't be available on the Messenger platform, and that's a shame. And I hope that the Messenger team, will roll out new use cases. But that's how I think on the spam and the noise side.
I see. You showed me a really enticing flow about starting with a sponsored message and then going into different options based on what they do in Shopify. Can you just describe a quick case study with this new updates, or what you had in Recart?
Yeah, sure. So we recently rolled out new features that help merchants to start a conversation from Facebook and Instagram ads and drive those people to Messenger conversations and follow up on the conversation based on different Shopify results. So what we do here is we took a look at how high growth Shopify merchants do Facebook ads, and we saw that most of them are suffering from the increasing customer acquisition cost. So cost per click is on the rise, and businesses have to adapt to it because many of them, they saw 3.5x ROAS in average last year, and this year they only have 2.5x ROAS. And they have to raise prices, they have to change their business model, they have to change their funnel themselves, and they are actively looking for tools that can decrease the customer acquisition cost. And as far as I can see, this is one of the biggest problems for high growth merchants. So anyone who wants to grow, from 1 million to 5 million, or to 5 to 15, or from 15 to 25, one of the biggest problem is they cannot really scale with the same profits. And even when they try to scale so hard that, they are just throwing money on Facebook ads from the same setup, they see losing their entire margins. So what we found that we can support these merchants by running Messenger flows. So Messenger ads are a great way to get more value out of the same clicks you get from Facebook, because instead of driving, so the general model is, I just want to circle back a little bit into the differences between the two models. So when I talk to merchants and when I started e-commerce businesses back in 2013, the advertising model was super simple. You defined an audience inside Facebook's ad manager. So you said, okay, 25 to 40 US male, and you created ads and targeted those ads, targeted that audience with those ads, drove them to the product page or the home page, and based on what action they did on your website, you created new audiences. Okay, add to carts, but not purchases, browse, abandonment, and audiences like that. And you created more ads and tried to throw them back. So it was 3-part system: audiences, ads, and website. And we realized that didn't really change in the past 6 years. It's just the same. So we thought, okay, why don't we look into the conversational aspect of advertising? What if we drive people to conversations instead of driving them to the product page? And we took a look at ideal use cases. So for example, when people want something from the brand, for example, a discount or an exclusive content, it's a great way to, it's a great opportunity to drive them to a conversation and give them the value inside the conversation. So tell them about how the product works or give them the discount. And driving traffic to your messenger conversation is a very powerful way to, grow your email list, for example. So once they enter the conversation, okay, to unlock your discount, give us your email address. You can get there. You can grow your own marketing lists. And once they reply to your first message, they become your messenger subscribers. So you can retarget them with sponsored messages. And down the funnel, you can build automations for people who asked for a specific discount but did not purchase, and you can follow up on the conversation. So instead of rejoining the bid war with retargeting, and of course you still have to do that. So I'm not saying that this will give you free targeting for all your customers, but just imagine that when someone asks for something, checks out a product, what you do is usually you create a retargeting ad and you run that ad and you try to, you have to wait until the customer, get lost on their Facebook or Instagram feeds again and find your ad and clicks on your ad. And here it's super easy. You can give them a messenger message and deliver it with push notifications. You actually shake their phone. The phone will vibrate and bing, and you get into their attention. And I think it's a powerful and very exciting opportunity for all the merchants out there. We just rolled out these features from closed beta, and the worst result we've seen so far, it was a 5x return on ad spend. So it's just crazy how powerful it is. So instead of the click to website model where you buy a single visitor and the opportunity to retarget, with click to messenger ads, you buy a messenger subscriber, you can have their email or phone number if you want, so you can grow your own marketing list as well. But most of the merchants don't ask for that yet. And then you can have 1 or 2 free follow-ups, because messenger rules still allow you to send those follow-ups to customers, and then the ability to retarget. So the value from the same click is much, much different than the original click to web view advertising model.
Okay, that sounds great. 5 times ROAS was the worst result.
Yeah, and the best is somewhere 70, 74, I guess.
Wow. Yeah.
These are all scaled ads. So we have results like 144x ROAS from sponsored messages. But that was so we usually wait when we spend a decent amount of money. So we can say, okay, we drive 144x ROAS for merchants, but it's not a proper measurement, I guess.
Do you have any tips on how to formulate these messages? So it's a little bit different for if you think about like Facebook ads in terms of copywriting, it can get a little bit more complex with different answers, button options. Do you see anything that stands out? Are there anything that matter more than other small things that don't need to be optimized? So what are the keys to writing a successful conversational flow or ad?
Yeah, the first thing we see is, marketers, they got used to copywriting on Facebook and emails. So, and oftentimes implementing the same strategy on Messenger just simply won't work, because emails can be lengthy and Facebook descriptions can be lengthy too. And that just simply doesn't work on Messenger. So when they are providing information, we advise them to be as concise as it physically possible. And when your messages are short and concise, they are convert much better than when you have lengthy explanations on how things work. So if you need to provide context, we usually do that through buttons and quick replies. So customers who want to learn more, they can go further down and can ask information from the bot. So that's the number one thing, to be as short as possible. We usually divide different sections of the conversation with emojis and images. So we encourage customers, to color their conversations with GIFs, videos, images. We see that videos work very well. So, for example, when a welcome message is being sent from a merchant and the founder of the company sends a video welcome message to the customers, that resonates very well on Messenger as well. So we also encourage them to give them a personalized welcome. On the other hand, the third thing we see is to provide very, very clear call to actions. So when a conversation has a button and it says unlock discount, it usually converts around 25 to 50%, which is quite normal from a welcome message. But when it has like unlock discount, several different other quick replies, and even more buttons or images under the buttons, that technically destroys conversion rates. So the use case we usually run is something like, hey, here's your discount on a click to Messenger ads, for example. And customers click on the ad, so they are interested in the offer, they want to get their discount. They get the first message which says, okay, hey, click here to unlock your discount code because you need the first reply in order to get them into your Messenger subscription list. So you need an explicit reply from them. They need to be engaged. They need to engage with the bot in order to allow you to send messages to them. And so that's why we do the unlock discount. They get the discount. We drive them to the Shopify store, and we drive them towards purchase. But the flow is built in a way that in case they are not purchased, so we usually send the first follow-up after 1 hour. So Recart's flow builder allows you to drag a delay block after the first message and say, okay, connect a follow-up and wait for an hour. You can drag a conditional block under the delay. So you wait an hour and you set, okay, you check has items in cart, true or false. And if it's false, you fire the follow-up. So if there is no add to cart activity after you send the discount, you check in and say, hey, did you forget to use your discount code? Is there anything we can help? Is there any answer we can help you with? Or how? What's the next step? So it's very, very powerful. And these are the e-commerce conditional logics we are working on super hard, and we want to extend those possibilities as soon as possible for our merchants. But these kind of use cases work extremely well, driving 5 to 15x ROAS for the customers. And these flows usually contain 1 or 2 follow-ups. Some audiences can take 1 follow-ups only. Some of them are okay with the 2. We advise to start with 2, and in case you see negative feedback, you should reduce the number of follow-ups to 1. So we send the first follow-up after 1 hour, and we wait a day or so, and the next day, 23 hours or 24 hours later, we check in and we send a final reminder. Hey, with the same usage, so we don't bother customers who already added something to cart or have already purchased. So if they added something to cart, they are at the point where either the add to cart, the abandoned cart, or the receipt campaign will be fired. So if they add something to cart, they will either abandon it or purchase it. So those flows will take over. So we only check if they have added anything to cart or not. If they not, we send the final reminder and say, okay, this is your last chance to activate the discount code. And that works beautifully too.
Yeah, I love how it actually gets one paid advertisement, more messages, because you have basically a free follow up because they answer the message, because that's how it's working. They have to interact with the business, and then you reopen the 24-hour window, so you get to message them at least one more, depending on the business, how much you want to push this. And also, as always with Messenger and all this information that we collect from not just Messenger but the Shopify, you can segment the people. That's very sounds very effective, and also good experience for the user, because they don't want to get like all the mess stuff. That's what Messenger is about. How do you see Messenger evolving in the near future? What is coming from Recart? What are some of the things that the shops want or wish that they would have? Maybe you see some creative workarounds from the shops, because let's be honest, they're always on the look for something which could potentially position them better or make them more revenue and so on.
Yeah, that's completely true. So, and it's especially true for the small merchants. So, they usually care about, getting the sale, and, and this is completely understandable. They less careful about the user experience itself. So they're happy to see different workarounds around the Messenger platform and other ways to send messages. Unfortunately, all these doors will be closed in January. So I don't think that there is a huge. Of course, you can trick the system and anytime you want, but it's just not going to be possible as subscription messaging is going away. It doesn't really allow you to have those kind of workarounds. So in terms of the near future of Messenger, it's clear that it's becoming an ad product. And I think that the value is there. And we see that, we spend tens of thousands of dollars on Messenger ads, and we see how much more effective they are compared to regular ads. So I think that the next year will be about a wider adoption. So businesses will realize, okay, CPCs are on the rise, and we just have to figure out how to adapt to this situation and how to provide a better customer experience, how to build a closer relationship with our customers, and how to communicate with them more effectively. So year over year, email open rates are decreasing. CPCs are increasing, and the customer acquisition cost overall increases. So I think that next year is going to be about wider adoption of use cases, Messenger ad use cases for businesses, small and medium businesses alike. So I think that when a medium business usually use Messenger ads for scale themselves with a lower customer acquisition cost, the same tool can be used by a small merchant to drive better conversions and get the sale, because they have direct access to the inbox of their customers. And I think that's the most important part, right? So don't forget that despite the changes, you still have access to their inbox, to their chat inbox, to their Messenger inbox. And that's a kind of value that you don't really get on different other platforms, because Apple Business Chat is not marketing compliant yet. WhatsApp is the same. It will change soon, but there is no other tool like Messenger when you have access to your customers' inbox in an interactive way, where you can send videos and pictures and buttons and create a conversation there. So yeah, that's what I think the next year will be all about. It's definitely going to become an ad product because it's not, you cannot send messages outside the ad system, promotional messages at least. So we're going to see a wider adoption of use cases in sponsored messages and messenger ads themselves.
Sounds interesting. I'm always in check what Facebook is up to and how this whole world evolves. So what Shopify stores are the best of, like, which Shopify or store owners would you suggest to try out Recart? And is there like a range with like how many subscribers, any limits that we should be aware of, and how does the pricing look like?
Yeah, so we encourage all merchants to try messenger ads who actually try to grow their business right now. So if you just registered for Shopify and you just try to take off and get your first sales, it might not be the best way to take off and get the first few sales, because it requires a deep understanding how the ecosystem works, and it requires an investment. So we encourage all merchants who actively run Facebook ads and continuously invest into Facebook ads month over month. So that's the entry level. If you're not actively using Facebook ads and you don't spend, like $1,000 a week or $1,000 a month on Facebook advertising, it might not be the tool for you. But in case you already have some kind of traction and traffic, and you drive traffic to your site from Facebook ads, for example, you can leverage both the power of pop-ups. So you can use a pop-up, give a discount code, and use the same flow I mentioned on the Facebook ad example, that you can actually follow up on the conversation if they don't purchase. So, and that's for completely free, so you don't have to purchase those clicks. Those clicks are coming from your traffic that's already on your site. So, and that's the entry level, and it goes up to $50 million merchants who are looking for ways to further grow their business while maintaining their margins.
I see. And how does the pricing look like?
So we currently charge based on, so we have two base pricing. One of them is a self-service scale pricing, where merchants can opt in and pay a monthly fee based on the actual sales we make them. So we track how much money we generate through these different flows and automations, and we charge a certain percentage. You can check out the pricing on our pricing page. For larger merchants who usually have more than $50,000 in revenue, we usually invite them into our scale plans. So scale plans are fixed monthly fee pricing plans that gives you not just the entire Recart platform, but access to strategy calls, better support, and kind of a deeper white glove onboarding for you into the messenger marketing world. So that's the two basic pricings we offer. So small merchants usually go with the scale pricing, and merchants who are already bigger than $50,000 a month revenue, they usually go with one of our scale pricing options.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Is there anything that you would like to mention to just wrap up this interview, or we can just go into the contact details where people can potentially reach out to you or start with Recart?
Yeah, I think that it's worth mentioning that even with Recart or without Recart or with any other tools, if you want to grow your business, please take a look at messenger ads and how messenger marketing works. If you sell to a country where messenger has a nice penetration, it's definitely a marketing tool that you don't want to miss. So, and it can be confusing at a first glance, but when you get used to it and when you learn how to do it, it's going to be a huge profit center for you, and it will generate a ton of new revenue for your business. So I see merchants being distanced from messenger marketing because they fear of what they don't know, I guess, which is strange. So be just courageous and just go into that, learn how it works. And trust me, we just crossed 130,000 Shopify merchant installs on the Shopify App Store, and we see what the results are. It's just crazy. It's phenomenal. Sometimes it's phenomenal. Sometimes it's okay, but at least okay is much, much better than not having that revenue. So I encourage all of you to try out messenger ads, messenger marketing itself. And basically that's the main message I wanted to form.
Okay, thank you very much. And the web site is recart.com, right?
Yes, exactly.
Is it like back to the cart, the principle, or what was the naming?
It was back then, but now it's just Recart. It was about regenerating those cards, and now we still have that feature, and we drive people back to their cards once they ask for a discount code. We are regenerating that interest with Facebook Messenger messages. So yeah, that was the idea, but we do many other different things now.
I see, and thank you very much. I'm super excited for people to try out Recart, so recart.com. Thank you, Shoma. Have a good day, and would you mind answering some questions if they pop up after this interview?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I think I can share my email address if anyone wants to, connect with me. It's soma@recart.com. So if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to help.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed the episode as much as I did. The great thing about talking to Shoma is that I always learn something. He understands Facebook Messenger better than the Facebook team itself. If you want to start with Recart, please click on the link in the description and start your free trial. For everyone interested in learning more about messenger marketing, I have a great news for you. I'm reopening Bot Mastery 2.0 soon. Just head to botmastery.com and you won't miss it. And for the show notes again, chatbottutorial.com/podcast. Until next time.
Thanks for joining the Chatbot Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to rate us on iTunes and share it with others.